Welcome back. Jeff Heggie, Daily Success Strategies. Thanks for being with me today. I've got another great episode for you today, another episode with Tyson Durfey. What we're going to talk about today is visualization and the practice of putting visualization into what you're doing, whether it's your marriage, whether you're an entrepreneur doing it for your business, or you're an athlete doing it for your sport. The different ways you can do it and some of the practices he puts into place. So listen here and I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, visualization is something that you must do. And I don't care if it's healing a relationship with your spouse, like you must visualize. Okay. One of the things that I teach in my program is called my pregame prep routine. Okay. So every time I get ready to compete, and guys, I speak a lot about athletics because that's my background, with the sports. I apply all this to my daily life. And the number one thing that people tell me in my program is, oh my gosh, yeah, I applied this to my work and it got better. I applied this to my life. It got better. I applied this to my relationship. It got better. It's all congruent, y'all. It all works together. Okay. If you had a fight with your spouse, NTR, RTR, it all works together. So if I'm getting ready to compete at a rodeo, I use my pregame prep routine. It's something I teach. I teach it to all my kids, my other, amateur athletes, my professional level athletes. And basically what it is, it's a complete outline of how I prepare to get ready to go. Okay. Number one thing, when you're getting ready to compete, you got to fight out the negativity that cannot enter your mind. Fight out the negativity by positive motion always. Jumping jacks, move up and down. If anybody's ever seen me compete on TV, I'm like behind the box, like constantly jumping up and down and moving it around. I learned that from Tony Robbins many, many, many years ago, and it works. It really works. Okay. It's much easier for me to visualize when I'm in a positive mindset. Okay. So the reason that I jump up and down is to release endorphins in my body to make me happy and positive so that I can think and visualize in positivity. Okay. Now on the flip side, let's say you paid all the bills for the month and you're at your desk and you try to close your eyes and say, oh man, I've got $1 million in my account. I got $1 million. You can't think that way because you just spent $20,000 in bills. Right? So you have to have something that bridges the gap to allow you to think positively before you visualize. And I think that's where a lot of people miss visualization. They sit down, the kids scream and the diaper needs change and they're trying to visualize it. Guys, you got to get into a space in your mind where you're in a quiet place. You're very optimistic. You got to close your eyes and visualize the future that you want. Now, within visualization, specifically what I do when I go to compete at a rodeo or any athletic event, I envision the thing that I want happening 10 times over again. And if I make a mistake within the 10 in a row, I go back to 1. All right. So if I want to rope this calf or whatever, or make that basketball shot, I visualize myself dribbling down the court, the right hand side, faking some guy out, going 3-foot line, jump shot, swish. Right side, middle, left side, baseline jumper, beating a guy, coming up the lane for a layup. Like I visualize every scenario to get to the outcome that I want. That way, when I hit that scenario in real life, it's not a surprise. Okay. And I do it 10 times over again. And if I make a mistake 1 time and 10 times, I start over again. The first time I did this, the first time my mentor gave me this strategy to do, it took me 3 hours to get to 10. That's a lot of focus. That's a lot of intensity. It took me 3 friggin' hours. I remember getting to 8, 2 or 3 times and be like, oh, don't mess up. Don't, and then a negative thought would pop in my mind and I would miss my calf or I would make a mistake. And then I would have to start over and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I got to start over at 1 again. But what it does, guys, it's flushing out your negativity, your insecurities, the things that's holding you back, the thing that somebody said to you in your past that you've held on to for the last 10 years. It's flushing all of that stuff out, guys. I would tell you that visualization is amazing. And I know you can do it 1 time. And you'll find that if you can take my 10, I call it the 10 run challenge, but if you can take it, the 10 visual challenge and get to it 10 times, you feel like you're bulletproof in your mind and nothing that anybody says sticks to you. Okay. It just like water off the duck's back. They throw it on you and it just falls right off. Nope. I just did it 10 times in my mind. It's no problem. I got this. Same thing. Like, I think this is brilliant for marriage couples. You know, my wife and I've been together for 10 years. We got married in 2013. When we enter maybe something like a conversation that's going to be like a little bit heated, maybe it's that one thing that I have that, you know, constantly gets underneath my skin. That's like, oh, I can't believe she said that, or, oh, I can't believe she did that, or, you know, she's on to me about this or whatever. I will visualize that conversation a few times. I've never done it 10 times in my head, but I'll visualize that conversation, you know, over and over and again in my head. That way, when I come to that conversation, it's like, I can't believe you freaking said that. Oh, you know, I can process it. I can have those emotions, and I do it prior to the conversation. That way I don't react out of emotion and say something that's going to dig me in a hole, you know? So visualization, yeah. And I don't know all the statistics on it, but I have studied a lot of professional athletes and Olympic athletes. It's the one thing that we all do. It's the one thing that we all do. And I find it amazing that in sports, it's the last thing that people work on. It's only now, you know, probably over the last half a dozen years that this visualization, you know, mindset thing has gotten pretty popular, you know, and before that, it was like, you worked on your mind. Why didn't you just go lift weights? Or why didn't you just go shoot another, you know, I remember doing free throws in middle school when I thought I wanted to play basketball, like doing thousands of them. And I could only hit 50%. That's when I knew I wasn't meant to play basketball. But here's the thing, guys. The mind has to be the first thing that you work on, not the last. You serve the mind first, right? Don't do it at the end of the day after you've worked hard and you did the dish and you put the kids to sleep. Like, trust me, I've got 2 kids. I know how that is. And they're little. So you don't feed the mind at the end of the day. You feed it at the beginning of the day. That way you're prepped and ready to attack all the things that are going to come at you.
Awesome. Have you ever studied anything from Neville Goddard?
I have not. No. Never heard of it. He's actually got some awesome stuff on visualization. And one of the biggest things I got from him was when you're working on visualization, visualizing, how did he say it? From the moment rather than, I'm going to say it wrong, but basically saying, rather than doing it as if you're watching a movie, if you're doing it for your roping, rather than watching yourself calf roping, do it, you know, you're on the horse, you know, it's first person
actually in it. Yes. And, you know, he's got some great stuff on that. So yeah, I think it's such a powerful thing.
And I think you brought up something that's very important, guys. When I visualize, I'm always in first person. Okay. First person means that I'm inside my body. I'm visualizing out through my eyes. I'm visualizing myself doing it. Now, here's the thing. If you're in third person and you're like watching yourself compete, then you're just a fan. That's not really you doing it. You must be in your own head in first person. And I'll give you one other tip. When you're done with the conversation, one thing that can leave any visualization session with like on a high and like, yes, give me more, is when you leave that conversation or that athletic event, visualize through your own eyes, the person patting on your back saying, oh my gosh, great 3, great catch. That was phenomenal. I can't believe it. How did you do that? Visualize your wife saying, you know, honey, that was a great conversation. I really felt connected to you in that moment. Visualize your dad patting you on the back and say, you know what, son, it's fine. It's paying off. That work that we're doing is paying off. I'm so proud of you. And when you leave that visualization session after that, then you're on cloud 9 and you believe that you can do it again. Okay. So it's important to feel at the end of a visualization session. And I do it by, you know, deep emotional connections, whether it's my dad telling me he loves me, or I did a great job, or my wife telling me I'm so proud of you, or that was a phenomenal conversation. That's how I do it. And I know it works, guys. I've been doing this for a decade. I know it works. So that's just another tip that'll definitely help you with your visualization.
You know, that's a great point. And, you know, this was a long time ago. And I've actually got the picture right down there. I remember I was at the Innisfail Rodeo.
Yeah.
And visualization was always a big part of my pregame. Mm-hmm. And when I would use that run a lot, because that was one of my, felt like such a perfect run. But part of my visualization after, it was during the slack. And so there's a bunch in the arena and stuff. And, you know, I was young. And so all these guys I'm bulldogging against are all my heroes. Yeah. And walking back, and all these guys that are my heroes giving me high fives and telling me it was a great run. That was all part of the visualization. I still remember to today, because the emotion that was involved in it. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love, you know, for those of you that don't know rodeo, bulldoggers are the best group of guys in the entire rodeo. Now, everybody in rodeo is pretty good people. Like, we're good folks. But bulldoggers, that event specifically is just unbelievable. They cheer for everybody, that even if it's a guy that they're battling to win the world champion, if he makes a good run, they're going to cheer for you. If you're a young guy like Jeff at Innisfail, they're going to cheer for you. And just really remember that. Remember the feeling that you had after that competition, after that run. You know, visualize that. It means so much more if you can just finish off that visualization with that great feeling.
Hey, thanks, Tyson. So much valuable information there. I loved it. I love the pregame routine that he goes through. I love the 10-run challenge. I'd love to hear comments on that after you try that yourself, because I know it's tough, and I know there's a lot of value in it. Now, the other thing that I really liked that you may or may not have noticed what he said he studies other professionals, other world champions, other Olympic athletes. All these people he studies, what do? They all work on their mind. And he says you put your mind first, not last. You know, as athletes, why work on your mind when you can go to the gym, go lift weights or something, like he was saying? When you start to put focus and effort and working on your mind first, you're going to get the results. Like he says, he's a world champion. It works. All these world champion athletes, Olympic champions, they do it, it works. I think we can learn a lot from that. So if you're not doing it, I think it's time. So thanks for being with me again. Go check out mindset.jeffheggie.com. Check out all my links in my show notes that I'm going to leave. I'm going to put all of Tyson's links in there to his websites, his social media, everything he's got. Check out the programs he's got coming up. He's got the TDX program coming up. He's got his mentorship programs in place. There's so much. You can just tap into them right now. But make sure to check that out, and we'll be back again tomorrow. See ya.